what about that credit I requested? And so there was a lot of time and waste involved in the credit memo process because of its speed. And also this process touched over 40 people, and any one of our customer service reps could originate them across two departments, our customer service department and our credit department, and also remote resources. Our reps in the field are involved in granting of credits. So we had all of the geographic challenges that would go along with this type of a workflow. We built our team with our customer service managers, our customer service reps, credit managers, credit specialists, and a business analyst, and support from Adaptive Corporation. The form itself took about 3 weeks for us to build it. We did 26 revisions, but mostly I want to point that out, that's just learning curve and training. And that was the intent. We wanted to really learn how to build these forms using a real solution. Same thing with the workflow, about a 3-week development time. They go side by side. And we did 17 revisions on the workflow as we really started to understand what we did. We obviously mapped it out when we first started the project, but it's amazing all the little nooks and crannies that your people really do once you start getting into the details. So we did 7 revisions to the workflow. Adaptive Corporation was here 3 times. Those were 3 half-day sessions to provide training, assist us in our installation of the product, and as we would develop it, we get into a little difficult piece of the workflow. They would just kind of demonstrate out how the tool works, help clarify it for us. We'd write up our work instructions, so the next time we go to duplicate that again, we'll already know how to do that. Implementation method, we selected a pilot, which just really means limited number of people doing it and a limited number of credit memos each day, just so we can see what's working, what's not working, and make any adjustments. So during the pilot, the form revision and workflow revisions were basically minor. We had a few, but what I want to stress is more important is we would get a call, and Frank, my business analyst, would walk on down to customer service and go, hey, this should have done this, and it didn't. He'd take a look at it, he'd come back. Within a few minutes, he'd figure out what he should have done. He'd republish either the form or the workflow, and bang, the application was running and doing what it should have based on what we discovered in the pilot. So that was really neat. Being in an ERP world where we've got so much complexity, and it takes a week to write the code, and you have a day of migrating the code. I mean, just immediate response to changes was just refreshing for us. But the results speak for themselves. Our cycle time has been reduced from 2 weeks, from 2 weeks down to less than 48 hours. Customers don't have time to call about credit memos anymore, so basically the phone calls have gone away. Our process metrics are in the database, and that's a beautiful thing. I'll show you a little bit more about that later. Our value-added steps, where we're actually performing work, have been significantly reduced, and that's through all of the discipline and business rules you place into the form and through the flows. Our non-value-added steps will become evident and will be eliminated, and I'll talk about that when I get to the data on the next slide. Our queue times, which were obviously huge to have a cycle time of 2 weeks, have significantly been reduced, and our value-added time over our total cycle time, for the first time we have that in a measure. We never had that before. And this is on our first flow, so we're looking forward to having that on almost all of our processes. On this next slide, what I want to do, and I don't know if you can follow my mouse. Is that actually on everybody's screen?
Yeah, we can see it fine. Yeah.
Okay. This flow here, and I just have I just grabbed a couple of them. A real flow where Sonia started a credit memo, and my mouse disappeared, of course. What I want to do is focus everybody to the right and take a look at the steps of 4 minutes and 33 seconds to do the transaction in our ERP, 11 seconds to approve it, 52 seconds to reassign or delegate it to someone else, 24 seconds to approve it, and 6 minutes to fill out the form original. What I want to show is that the value-added time to do a credit memo is 12 minutes. And I could tell you that it used to be, in their opinion, 30 minutes worth of work using it the manual way, through paper forms and routing it. The cycle time is the 5 hours, 47 minutes. instead of 2 calendar weeks. And then the value added time over the total cycle time is 3%. And this one is fairly typical. We've got faster ones. We've got some slower ones, where the information is not 100% complete, or this is an unusual request. But what I want to highlight the most on is we're into continuous process improvement. We're into lean. We're into lean office, and this type of application, and obviously the wealth of data it gives us, not only gets us to collapsing the cycle time, but it also gets us to taking a look at steps that no longer become necessary. I'm optimistic that the first level approval, which is that CS team lead review, we'll find out that credit memos under a certain value, they'll be spending less than 30 seconds approving those documents, and they tend to reject none. What will end up happening in the next 3 to 6 months is that organization that owns that process will take a look at that step and say, you know what, that is an unnecessary step. Now, I believe that they don't believe that today, and I'm confident that eventually they'll see that some of these routings have been basically obsoleted because of the quality of the form, quality of the workflow, and when they get it, they are no longer correcting gross errors and that kind of stuff, and those steps will go away. And that's a huge win for improving your processes. So continuing on, the users are fully trained. The process is now in production. Kichler is producing about 19 credit memos a day. Unfortunately, that's 19 errors. So sitting on top of this database, we're going to be able to perform Pareto analysis and determine root cause, large areas of root cause and analysis, and start implementing corrective actions, and then measure if the corrective action was effective by taking a look at the number of credit memos each day. Don't get me wrong, I like doing credit memos fast, but really for this process improvement, I also want to do far less credit memos. So the ultimate goal is obviously to start taking a look at why are we making some of these errors. I mean, we do 1,000 orders a day. Yeah, you're 19 order errors is not that many. Well, I sure like to get it down to 5, 3. I don't know what nirvana is for this organization, but we can get a heck of a lot closer with a tool like this. So what's next? ShareVis will be used in each department to handle white-collar processes that are not contained within our ERP, within our warehouse management, our CAD solutions, those type of things. Those solutions already have the steps of the transactions figured out, and we don't need a solution to do that. So some of the stuff we're looking at is our request for quotation, our invoice approval for non-inventory purchases, our check requests, international travel approvals, time-off requests. Actually, the list is getting rather long now that departments have seen the results of this, and the BAs, my BAs that report to me have been trained. We'll be busy working with ShareVis over the next year or two, continuing our continuous process improvement. So summarize that again. Kichler Lighting will continue to work on CPI initiatives. We know that's what we should be doing. ShareVis is now a new tool that we'll be using to achieve some significant improvements. And that's basically all I had. Any questions?
No questions on the display at this point, Rick. Thank you very much.